and I am one of the relationship managers with Hiscox Small Business, Hiscox Now. And oops, I'm going to move these down. And Kasheri Smith is on the presentation with me. She is one of our underwriters for Hiscox. So she will be manning the chat while so again, please feel free to ask any questions along the way. Just pop it into the chat if for any appetite or specific questions, and Kasheri will go ahead and answer those questions for you. But just what I had planned on doing is I did plan on going through a presentation, but really there's only a couple slides that I just want to go through, and then we're going to hop right into the portal, which is really where the majority of the information I was going to go through exists. So I figure we'll just do it that way and show you where all the fun with Hiscox actually is. But first of all, with Hiscox Now, so this is basically your standard admitted products. So you have access to the BOP, general liability, cyber professional. You can either write these monoline or you can write these as a package. So, if you wanted to do general liability professional, we can do that. General liability cyber, or just standalone. So that is what we have available for it. Why the question, why write with Hiscox? What is our differentiators? Well, like I had mentioned before, we are 100% admitted. We have over 480 classes, and we're continuing to grow our appetite. So, we're making changes as we go, seeing what the marketplace is doing, and really looking to expand Hiscox Now. The revenue threshold for most of our classes is 5 million, so we are looking at the smaller operations. Architects and engineers, we allow up to 1 million. New ventures, we can look at new businesses. So if I decided today I didn't want to be in this position and I wanted to go be a plumber, which was scary in and of itself, but saying, yes, we do look at new businesses. So we can definitely take a look at those. Competitive premiums, our premiums start at $270, which is for professional lines. I believe the BOP is $500 and the GL is $350. Artists and contractors, the minimum premium starts at $500 though for GL. Through the portal, what we call it portfolio underwriting. So we're there to do it quick, simple, to the point, get it done. So we have rules and guidelines that are asked within the quoting process. So if there is a quote that is answered in a way that we're like, don't really want that, it will let you know right then and there and just say the quote's declined. So like I said, and so fast, simple. It says online application. It's an online quote. So you don't need to send in, we won't ask for supplementals. We won't ask for loss runs. It is strictly online portal-based business. You don't need to have a direct Hiscox appointment. You need to be working through USG, through their portal, their partnership to have access to Hiscox. Quotes, you can quote and bind within minutes, and you will see how simple it is to quote. The same, we can write same day, effective date policies, and policies will be emailed directly to the client and to the agent. So we will handle all of that. Direct bill. So Hiscox, again, simple ease of doing business. We will handle all of the service and billing for you. Payments are recurring, so we accept either credit card or debit card. And then at the time of binding, you will enter that information, your client's information, and whatever payment option you choose. We do have monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, and annual. There is no installment fee. So either or, there's no benefits, no drawbacks to whatever option you choose. Right now, we don't offer EFT, so checking accounts, we can't pull that information. It does need to be either a debit card or a credit card. and that is required at time of binding. So there's no way around that. We're not going to bill you insured. We do have, again, a support team that is available Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. There are a lot of ways to manage the policies through the portal itself. And then if you have any questions, we do have, like we said, the dedicated number, or we do have a chat function, which I'll show you. And that is manned, it's in real time. So a licensed advisor is monitoring the chat function. Automatic renewals, again, no application, no supplemental is needed. The policy is automatically renewed about anywhere from 45 to 60 days before the renewal effective date, just based on state statute. So you do not have to do anything. The insured does not have to do anything. As long as their credit card is updated on file, we'll go ahead and issue the renewal and bill for it right then and there. Hiscox, A-rated company, excellent, by AM Best. We're a solid company. We've been around for over 100 years, and we continue to grow and expand. So yeah, that's the general gist of writing with Hiscox Now. So now, I'm gonna move this down to see, are there any particular questions at this point? Nope. All right, then moving on. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when you log into the portal for USG. As you'll see, their logo is up here. It is co-branded. So now with Hiscox, you only have to have one login for a period. So you can use this, you would use the same login with every wholesaler that you may work with. The only difference is the portal. So in USG will provide their login information. That's the only difference. If you don't have a Hiscox account, you just go to create a Hiscox account. And the information, you just enter, and then create an account. Sign in, I'll show you signing in through our example portal, just how quick and easy it is. And sign in, you enter your email address, and you hit enter, hit sign in. And what I want to do before we go into a quote is just highlight the resources that we have available. When I said I was going to go through a presentation, all of the information that I was going to show you is really right here. We make it very, very interactive. Everything is on the portal available for you. I had mentioned before that we do have a chat box. This right here, it looks kind of like a bot when you get going, but really it is monitored by our service team, real life questions, and this is available when you're quoting as well. So if you have any questions about service issues before, after, this is available. Now with resources, this is probably one of my favorite pages ever. I like this kind of stuff, but what it does is we have a ton of resources here for you. So if you forget anything about quoting, we have demos right here that you can take a look at. Webinars, pre-recorded webinars talking about products, a specific line of business, that is available. Frequently asked questions. Now this is phenomenal. I actually just found this yesterday. And with these questions, they really cover pretty much everything that you would need to know with Hiscox Now. So appointments, why choose Hiscox? How do I come through a wholesaler? Account and login questions, quoting questions, and how to save, retrieve your quotes. Billing questions, do you offer same day coverage? Are all policies direct? All the servicing issues. So these right here, this is one of my favorite spots because it really does answer, I would say probably 95% of the questions you'll have. So definitely keep that in mind. This one right here, I was an underwriter in a previous life, so I love specimen forms. So you can download examples of our policies. So if you want to take a look, you can pull up all of our policies. We don't have anything specific to industries, so these policies are used for all lines of business, all industry segments. Document Finder, this one is pretty darn cool. This I would recommend using this if you're looking at doing like any particular marketing campaigns, because what we do, it is customized co-branded material. So let's say you want to look at allied health. Right here, this allied, we have different professions. Most of them, the segment is going to be about the same information, just different headings, different professions titled. But if you click on this, it does show, what you need, professions that we can look at. Why do I need insurance? And then right down here, you can enter your information. So this can be co-branded. You can set this up as a document, marketing flyer. So highly recommend taking a look at that one. Endorsement search, you will see how this is going to be useful after we go into the quoting portal, because you can actually look up specific endorsements and take a look at what the wording is, what everything reads. So this one is available for you. Any questions right yet? Oops. Let's try to get rid of that thing. All right, that didn't work. Okay, here we go. Sorry, little user error on my part. We can't return. Here we go. Okay, back to where I was. Manage policies. This one you'll once you start writing, or if you do have policies with Hiscox, there are a lot of things that you can do online, or I'm sorry, through the portal. So these online policy changes, all you have to do is click request and boom, it gets you started. These are the changes that do have to be made over the phone. So you do have to call in. We are working at updating this so this becomes less and less, more over to online changes. You can also get a certificate of insurance, boom, file a claim, boom, and then again, resource, appetite guide, all of that. Let's take a look at the appetite guide. So this one is what, and we're updating it as we go. We would like to have something all in one condensed document, but right now everything is online. It is what's the word I'm looking for? You click to find out if it's something that we can write. So let's say you have a contractor, small contractor. You want to see what lines of business we write. So let's do carpentry interior. So if you click on this, this will show you obviously a quick definition, and these are the products that are available for the contractor for carpentry. Let's say you wanted to see if we can write, let's say you wanted a concrete contractor. It will show you right here that no products, no eligible products. So that is something we can't offer, but it will tell you right before you even start quoting. These products, this is what I was going to go through mostly in the presentation. It's right online for you. It will tell you up to the limits that we have available. It talks about the coverages that we have, and it also goes through minimum premium, revenue limit, how many years are required, and then your payroll limit as well. So, and it also, because there are some states, this is a BOP, there are some states we don't offer coverage in. So it tells you right down here as well. So that is available for all of our lines of business. So now we're going to go and start the quoting process. If I can find out where I left off. Here we go. Okay. So this is just really starting a quote. What you're going to do is you start with the zip code and you start a quote. And you just you go through the process. So again, like I mentioned, this right here, the chat function is open. If you can't finish it or you have some issues, you can always call in and the service center can pull up the quote and help you through it. These little eyes, which I love, they are a little helpful. Hover over it. It tells you more description. If you're kind of stuck on what anything is, it gives you a description. So let's say that we're looking at an accountant. So what I like to, it does pop up a little description. And if you wanted to go back to our appetite guide, you could take a look at it there. How is it structured? We're going to do in LLC because I want nothing coming back to me as an individual. We want the client's start date. Let's say we want it Friday, and then you just hit next. And then these will tell you what products are available for you. So again, we have GL, BOP, Professional Cyber. You can choose more than one option, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you how to add products at the end, but those are things that you can do. If you want to know more about some of the coverage items, you just click on here. It tells you what's covered, and then it also gives you some documents and resources, so you can pull the spec form right from here as well. So we're just going to say, yep, we're going to take a look at GL. That's what we want. So you just hit next, and then it gives you a little pop-up about cyber, because obviously cyber is a product that almost anybody needs. So we definitely want to highlight the cyber. You can either add it, but I'm just going to say no thanks, and then I'm going to add it at the end. Because that is one thing you can do. If you start a quote and you're like, they just want GL, we're just going to do GL. And if you decide along the way you want to add products, you can definitely do that at the end. Very, very easy to do. So I am going to just do, okay, let's call it, what did I call it? Okay, well, first of all, I just entered the information. Client's first and last name, client's business name. We're going to say SCOF LLC. Entered the client's phone number, and remember, this is all client information. Oops, let's do. Oops. This really tells you how old I am, that I still have a Hotmail account. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, okay, when did the business begin? Like I said, we do allow new ventures, but a lot of the times we can allow going back without current coverage in place. So just keep that in mind. There are some caveats, like a property manager, we would not want them to start without having prior coverage in place. Just kind of use your common sense on that one. So let's say I started, let's say in 4 of 2025. I have a DBA, so you just put DBA. My DBA is, let's call it Phoenix Accounting. Do I have insurance in place? No, I do not. And then next. And then you'll see right here too, under locations, once you enter that the main information or the general information, this reference number, this is your quote number. So if you need to go back and log in, or if you need to call in, this is a reference number that you would provide. You'll see when it turns into a policy, the S will change to a P, and everything else will remain the same. But this is just kind of a good idea to be able to see what kind of trigger if it's a quote or if it's a policy. And then you'll also see this progress tool. This will tell you where you are. The check marks are done. These are still needed. And I do want to say too, if you want to go back to the prior page, do not hit this. Use the links down below, because it will error out on you. So street address, and all this information is pre-filled. You just validate the address. And we can add additional locations, or you can update this if you notice that something isn't correct, but then again, you just hit next. And then these are some of the underwriting questions I was referring to. So, maybe that they do this, not really the best fit for us, but the system will trigger a response based on the answers to questions. But as an accountant, nope. Do I present, no construction. Now you do get a little bit of a discount if you have a home operation. So I'm going to say, yep, I operate out of my home. And then all you do is choose the square feet that you occupy within the home, your expected revenue. I'm a pretty good accountant, so I'm going to say that. Actually, maybe that's not a good accountant, but anyway, so the limits, again, this pre-fills to the common limit. If you want higher limits, they are available, but this will trigger an underwriting referral. So we allow the portal to go up to 2 million. Anything else, either you call the service center or it triggers an underwriting referral and tells you to call. So we're good with 1 or 2-1. Yes, we want terrorism included. Now, here are some of the questions that additional enhancements, I should say. So business property and equipment, this is going to include your computers, home office equipment. It is a general liability policy, but we are giving the option to add some contents. So let's say, yes, I want to include those, and let's say I have probably 15,000 worth. So I put that in there. Hired and non-owned, yes, I want to include hired and non-owned. And we're going to do the general 1 million. Waiver subrogation, primary non-contributory wording. For an accountant, you probably don't need it. These come into play more with contractors, or requirements, contractual requirements. But I'm done, so I just hit next. And then boom, that's it. So this will tell me what the quote looks like right here. This is your premium. It gives you your specifics. It tells you the options that you have, what you've included, coverage details. You can go back, you can look at some of those again, what the coverage includes. And then right here, this is where you can actually download a copy of your quote. So this is something that you can obviously send to your customer or review it in more details. And when I said that endorsement, well, I'll just quickly go through. It shows you all your coverages, and it will show you your limits, what's offered, what's covered. Here are your limits right here. And then down here, these are a list of the forms that will be included on the policy. So where I showed you in that resource guide where you can actually search for endorsements, this is why I said that would come in handy. You would just copy, paste, and you can actually see what the endorsement looks like. So that hopefully I'm just going to close out oh, good. Sometimes I close out my whole computer. Okay, so that's the option for quote. And if you want to bind a policy, before I go into adding additional products, I'm just going to show you how to bind a policy. Very simple. You just click on bind policy, policy details. And this is, again, your client's information. Mailing address, you can change the address if the one was previously a physical location, but they want a PO box. This is where you would do that. You just acknowledge that you have agreed, you have read terms. Yes, because we are portal, so everything is pretty much email delivery. So you just hit yes, continue payments. Oh, it doesn't like that. All right, we'll just change it. And then it will trigger you if there is something it doesn't like. And it's thinking. There we go. So it usually doesn't take that long. So again, it offers you your payment options, compare plans. It just shows what they are. So close that. And then when you're ready, after you've done that, or after you choose, let's say annual, and you just go continue to purchase. And then you enter this information, make payment, boom, you're done. Everything will be sent, the email or the policy will be sent directly to you, the agent, and then to your client. So that is the gist of that, how simple it is to bind and quote. Now, what I'm going to do, this is, again, like I said, I have favorite things that I found in here. This is one of my favorite. And again, like I said, I'm just hitting the back button because I don't want to do that. But there are ways you can add a product. You can either, like additional lines of business. You can either go to, if you go all the way down, right here, add or remove products. That's one option. And then this is the one I love. Create a comparison quote. Because let's say the accountant only sent in a policy for general liability, but you know that really the bulk of their exposure is in professional, their E&O. So what you can do is you can say, okay, here's your GL, print it out, send it to them, or you can create a comparison quote. So this is, like I said, one of the best things ever. So what you do is you just add what additional products. You just want to do professional and you want to throw in cyber because they need those. You hit next. And then it pre-fills all this information for you. So you do not have to worry about having to answer all the questions again. And it will show you here too, what things are done, what things that you still need to accomplish. So you can either page through or you can go right to the little bubble or open circle, whatever you want to call it. But these are when you'll fill in the additional questions. So required by law, yes, we do require certificates. Do you participate in any of the following? Nah. We're just a simple, we just do simple bookkeeping. Business, let's just do, there we go. We just do payroll and tax services. You hit next. Again, it pre-fills. You choose your options. So these are your PL limits. Again, pre-fills the most common. And then if you need additional layers, or I'm sorry, additional limits, you would have to call in if it's over 2. But nope, I don't need any of that. And then it's taking me to general liability, but I've already completed that. So I just click on to cyber. Include how many, it's just me. Do I have any training? Yes, I do. Next. And then my revenue is already pre-filled. And then I look at my cyber options and limits. So I'm a small operation. I probably really don't need anything more than 250. I'm just going to leave it at that. Media liability, this is more geared towards your tech account or if it's advertising type of thing. So I don't need that. And it usually doesn't take this long, but I'm screen sharing. It does take a little bit longer to process. And then boom, here we go. This is my new quote. It has my professional, cyber, general liability. Again, the same options. You can buy and download a copy. And then this is what I love up at the top. Compare existing quotes. So what it does is it takes a look at these side by side. So as you'll see, the reference number, the quote number is the same, but it just adds the last 3 digits to basically identify what it is. But right here, it goes line by line, what's done. This right here shows you right there. And you can also do print. So if you wanted to send this to your client, this is what it's going to look like. It'll just be a copy right there. So view, save, and that's that. So that is really time. I mean, I could go through more stuff, but time frame, that's, I would say, the bulk of what we have. Does anybody have any questions?
I also want to remind everyone that you can enter to get to Hiscox Now through USG's INS link. You can just go to our website or go to www.usginslink.com, enter in your logins, click on the quoting tab. You can click on Hiscox. You should only need to log in once to Hiscox. It should then populate that after you log in that first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll send Jenna a copy of the PowerPoint that I was going to send to going through. And then seriously, if anybody has any specific questions for me or of me, if you want me to go through anything further with you, never hesitate to reach out. So, this is, USG is an important partner for Hiscox, and I'm here to help their agency partners any way possible. Okay, and on that, everybody have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Jenna. Bye.